So Nvidia's GTX 1060 is the successor to the Nvidia's GTX 960, and this is the latest addition in their 10 series lineup by far. But do note that we have some unofficial reports that next month we can see the Nvidia 1050 and 1050 Ti. So by that time, please keep your mouth shut because this is not an official report. But yes, it is expected that next month we can see some new 10 series card. So let's begin with the Nvidia 1060. So we have with us the Founders Edition, and thanks to Nvidia India, without them it could not have been possible to review this card for you guys. And so let's begin. So the Nvidia GTX 1060 looks a lot similar to the Nvidia 1070 and the 1080 Founders Edition, but there are a few changes in design and some things are missing. So first let's talk about the missing things. So first of all, the window of the cooling chamber is missing, but honestly I don't think so that is a necessary feature. Like what will you do looking through a window at your cooling chamber of your graphic card? Are you going to play with it, play games with it, or look at the card? So honestly I don't think so that is a necessary feature. But now comes the most thing which I hate about this card is that Nvidia has gone ahead and removed the SLI bridge. Yes, you heard it right. There is no SLI bridge on the 1060. So why is that so? I don't know why is that so exactly, but according to Nvidia, this is how it's going to be, and they would be focusing SLI support in their higher series only, like the 1070 and the 1060. But come on Nvidia, this is the most amazing and affordable card by far, and you have removed the support of adding multiple cards and making our gaming experience more better. So do not that in future. I think I should see an SLI bridge back in the Nvidia's GTX 1060 successor, and this is where the AMD's RX 480 gains a lead because it still have a crossfire support. And recently on the 24th of this month I visited at the ASUS India OC tour in Delhi, and there they were running 3 RX 480s in crossfire. So do note that Nvidia. So now let's talk about the connectivity options which you would be getting with this card. So you would be getting 3 display ports, 1 HDMI port and 1 DVI port, and you would be finding a 6-pin power connector far right on the top of the cooler which is extended from the main PCB. So do note that before you buy this card you have a good power supply to power this beast up. However, this does not take a lot of power. We'll talk about that a bit later. And talking about the cooler is the usual reference cooler with a blower design, which does a pretty decent job in cooling this beast down. And also you can see some design aesthetic change from the 1070 and the 1080 in the 1060, which is always good and appreciated. So now let's get a bit more in depth about the technical side of this GPU. So it is powered by Nvidia's latest GP106 chip, which is based on the Pascal architecture, and this is launched after the AMD's RX 480 launch, which gives it a pretty decent competition, and I think so that this card outperforms the AMD RX 480 according to me. So it is having 1280 CUDA cores and with a base clock of 1506 MHz, but with a GPU boost clock of up to 1708 MHz. And the version which I am having is with 6 gigs of GDDR5 VRAM, which is clocked at 8 gigabits per second with a memory bandwidth of 198 gigabytes per second. And you are getting all of this thing in a teeny tiny TDP package of only 120 watts. Yes, you heard me right, 120 watts. So we'll see how all these things add up to the overall performance of this card. So I tested out 3 titles, 2 of which I tested out at 1080p resolution and at ultra settings. So the first game was Far Cry 4, which I was a bit disappointed about the FPS which I was getting, but that's not the GPU's fault, because the FPS I was getting is around 50 FPS. But I think so that there is some fault with either my game files or with my memory, because my memory has been acting up weird these days. So because I have also seen many gamers that are reporting that they are getting more FPS in Far Cry 4 than which I was getting. But as a reference, I'm giving you these results because that was the only game which games which I have lying around at the time of the benchmarking of this card. And next game, the Battlefield 4, which has a limit of 60 FPS, gave a full 60 FPS to me, which is very great. And then my mind was blown out by the performance of this card in the Tom Clancy's Division, because the Division, as you all guys know, that this is a very high gaming title which requires a lot of GPU power and a CPU power and RAM and a hard disk space. So it gave me an average FPS of around 105 frames per second, which is not too shabby at all. And also the minimum I got was 90 and the maximum I got was like 120 to 140 FPS, but that was not stable, that was like anonymously I got. But a 120 FPS I got pretty easily. So this is the average FPS which I am reporting. So overall the performance of this card is very great. So as you have seen the performance of this card, I would highly recommend this card for gamers who want to do gaming on a budget, because this card is priced around 20 to 23,000 rupees, which is a pretty decent competition to the AMD's RX 480. And this card beats the RX 480 by 2 or 3%, which does not sound more, but is enough to enrich your gaming experience. But nowadays I don't think so that you would be finding the Founders Edition, because on I cannot see it on online listings, and you might be able to find one on offline stores, but as always there are more brands to choose from. So hit the like button if you like this video, hit the dislike button if you thought it sucked, and please leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. I will try to answer them. And please subscribe to my channel for more awesome content like this. And do note that the giveaway is ending on coming 2nd of October 2016, which is pretty soon. So I have also left the link down in the description, or click here to go to that video and see the rules and regulation how you can take part in my giveaway, which is my first ever giveaway. So please go ahead and check it out and stay awesome.